I tried canned food from the shelter. Liu Feng, the commander with a sparkle in his eyes, said that this is the currency of the future. The girls could not restrain their emotions from how delicious it was to them. Midnight, and decided to see, thanks to the satellite system, what other institutions her ex-fiancé had appropriated. Seeing that she had lost contact with all 4 research institutes as well as Li Tian's 14 research institutes, Kelly suspected that he was looking for the same thing as her. A little later, she remembered that she told Liu Feng to improve relations with the army. She thought that with his character it would probably be very awkward for him to make new acquaintances. Meanwhile, by the fire, Liu Feng was spending time in the pleasant company of 2 gorgeous ladies, and also the commander, who praised him and raised his glass to the red-robed master. Uncle Fu, while eating the canned food that Liu Feng nobly gave them, noticed that it had a very pleasant smell. Therefore, he told Liu Feng not to sell too many of these canned goods in the city, otherwise something bad would happen. Liu Feng asked him why he thought so. Uncle Fu answered him and said that there is no need to look for brotherhood and wealth. He heard that they have a lot of money. If people find out about this, the shelter will most likely become a target. The old man only suggested that it would be better for the shelter to conclude an exchange deal with the military. Jia Shueli took Liu Feng's arm and decided to take him to the tent, saying that if he drinks one more mug, he will become completely drunk. She took him to her tent, saying that she would show him something interesting. She laid him on the bed and climbed on top of him, asking him if he understood what she wanted to do. Liu Feng didn't understand what she wanted to do to him. Jia Shueli told him to keep quiet and just make her happy. Liu Feng said that she did not have to do this, and pushed her away. Jia Shueli grabbed her face and said that she had been hungry for so many days and was exhausted, and she almost died from zombies. He not only saved her, but also fed her. She just wanted to thank him. Liu Feng couldn't watch the tears welling up in her eyes. Therefore, he asked to forgive him and said that she could thank him as she wanted. Suddenly, at that moment, 2 more girls came into the tent and said that they also wanted to thank him for saving their lives. They asked him to close his eyes and feel their care. At this moment, Liu Feng felt as if he was a teenager again, and the 3 women left him for special additional tasks. Cicadas in the hot summer, mathematical equations of English speech and reading ancient poems. All this put so much pressure on his young body and mind. After all, he was saddled by 3 gorgeous girls. Sometimes even he fell from fatigue. 3 beautiful ladies gave him 60 points for the exam, which is a bad result. And they asked him how he was going to become a good student. But Liu Feng was not going to give up. The basis of success is repetition, and his main capital is youth. He satisfied one of the ladies with his answers and performance, passing the exam with 100 points. After which he took up the English language and spoke it so well in his own language that the English teacher could not resist and gave him 100 points too. After which he began to solve mathematical problems, and he was so good at solving them that he also received 100 marks in mathematics. He really enjoyed this kind of study, and the girls worked so hard to make sure he finally became educated. He had to study well, because he didn't want to be like that cow from the manhwa. Meanwhile, in another place on a tree branch, the sniper decided to commit suicide. After loading the revolver's clip and taking 1 bullet out of it, he decided to play Russian roulette. After turning the revolver drum several times, he pulled the trigger, but the shot was a blank, and he realized that it seemed that heaven did not want him to die this way. At this moment, he thought of Liu Feng again. I think this guy has first-class skills and has conquered so many masters. It is truly full of secrets. When suddenly he heard a branch on the ground break, and he decided to see who was there through the scope of his sniper rifle. Through the sight of his sniper rifle, he saw the same guy from the bus, but he couldn't understand why he was staring at the car. It was Shen Qing's ex-boyfriend who turned into a zombie. It's unclear how, but he was able to track them. The sniper was about to shoot at him, but he disappeared like the wind. He was very fast. 1 hour after everyone had rested, the military commander ordered everyone to line up. Everyone was extremely unhappy about this, because they thought that waking people up in the middle of the night was not good. But Chu Shanhei said that they had just learned that there was an infected person among them. After which, Liu Feng pointed his sword at Wang Jian and ordered him to come forward. Liu Feng's ex-girlfriend said that this was some kind of joke and asked the soldiers not to let him do whatever he wanted. The soldiers raised their machine guns and ordered no one to move, otherwise they would open fire. Chu Shanhei said that of course they believed Liu Feng but hoped that he had evidence, otherwise he would go to a military tribunal. Sniper Xiao Liu said that there was definitely something wrong with this Wang Jian, and if he had not noticed him, he would have killed Kelly. Shen Qing couldn't believe it, and asked her to stop because she thought it was some kind of mistake. Xiao Liu had already pointed his gun at her and told her to shut her mouth. After which he told Liu Feng not to worry about her and just kill Wang Jian already. Wang Jian walked out from the crowd laughing and saying that Liu Feng thought he could kill him. After all, he himself is a murderer. Without thinking for a long time, Liu Feng took his sword and cut his head in half, saying that this is the apocalypse and he kills whoever he wants. After which he added that everyone who dares to go against him will die. Shen Qing started screaming with tears in his eyes that he was a damn murderer, and Liu Feng realized that he was very blind that he had loved her once. After which her lover Wang Jian attacked her from behind, and she tasted the fruits of her actions. The military opened fire on him in an attempt to save the girl, but Liu Feng turned around, putting his sword behind his back, thinking that now he had definitely said goodbye to his past. Kelly, standing next to him, told him that his impulse was not bad at all. He replied that if she believed he was trying to clear his reputation, she was wrong. It's just that no one dares to threaten him. Kelly noticed something blue in Liu Feng's pocket as he was leaving and asked what it was. These items turned out to be Jia Shuili's mathematician's panties. Liu Feng could not understand when she managed to put them in his pocket. The sniper couldn't understand how they were still together after this. After all, this is not Liu Feng's first puncture. The next morning, they set off again on the road to the northern survivors' camp. The situation was calm, and Liu Feng, with a blade of grass in his teeth, sat on the roof of his own car and thought about why they were going to the northern camp. He wondered why the survivors refused to seek refuge. Although, of course, if the choice was between the northern refugee camps and the search for another refuge with unknown prospects, anyone would choose the camp. Uncle Fu and his granddaughter, who wanted to play with Liu Feng, came up to his roof. It seemed to him that Uncle Fu understood a lot of things, and he asked what he had been doing before. Uncle Fu said that he was a researcher from a government program, a forestry project, a project specialized in studying the profound effects of male hormones on the cerebral cortex. Liu Feng didn't expect that Uncle Fu was such an expert in the field of science. Well, his granddaughter interrupted and said that grandfather was expressing himself very pompously because he was just simply the leading specialist in a project on hair growth in bald men. Suddenly, the grandfather and his granddaughter jumped up and unanimously said that they were almost there, pointing their finger at the northern camp. Seeing the northern base, which was in the process of being built, Liu Feng opened his mouth and his eyes widened. It was a northern refugee camp. Meanwhile, the same strange zombie that Liu Feng had seen on the bus came to the parking lot in the forest. His head split in two, and some kind of worm crawled out of it and entered the body of Liu Feng's ex-girlfriend. Shen Qing has risen from the dead, becoming a mutant zombie. It was under the control of this worm which appeared to the apostles who came to faith number 6, which the high priestess spoke about. Meanwhile, the survivors were already passing through the northern gate of the base. Liu Feng noticed the walls, which were truly grandiose. Chu Shanhei turned to Liu Feng, saying that he and his team must first go through all the formalities to enter the city. In the meantime, he will take care of the resettlement of refugees. Uncle Fu and his granddaughter said goodbye to Liu Feng, waving his hand, and said that if he had the opportunity, then let him come for tea. Liu Feng said goodbye to them and decided to go further to explore the camp, when suddenly he was stopped by a man in a suit. He introduced himself as Refugee Quarantine Director Huang, and he said that their car and weapons had been requisitioned as compensation. They would give them 10 kilograms of grain. Then he said that they would soon go into quarantine. Liu Feng and his team did not like this, and he greeted the director and said that he was a friend of Commander Chu. And since they do not need grain, he asked to return their car. In response, Juan called him a son of a bitch, having said that he is from a research institute, therefore he does not obey the military. Liu Feng immediately realized that if there is a scientific research institute in this city and the military is present, it means that it is not so calm there. At the same moment, Juan was attacked by a disgruntled survivor who said that he would not exchange his car and asked his boss to call him. With a smile on his face and a cigarette in his mouth, Juan ordered the man to be shot, which the military did in front of everyone else. Liu Feng immediately took up his sword when he noticed that these people's equipment was the same as those who took his sister. At this time, Juan said that he suspected the man of being infected, and so that no one else makes mistakes, he said that the base exercises military control and obediently follows orders, otherwise they will all be shot. Kelly got out of the car and asked Liu Feng to wait because he shouldn't be so impulsive. When Juan saw Kelly, he was speechless and almost swallowed his cigarette. Kelly apologized to the director for offending him and said that she had several packs of cigarettes. Hearing about cigarettes, Juan said that in the post-apocalypse, this is the new currency, and asked to see them. After which Juan said that she understood the rules, and if so, she could sleep with him, because he wanted to try out that elastic ass. Liu Feng could not tolerate such impudent behavior from Huang, and with one movement of the ball, he cut off his wrist. A nearby boy in roller skates, playing with a coin, heard Juan yelling. I realized that apparently someone had caught prey. At this moment, the military were at a loss and did not know what to do. Liu Feng told Kelly that her beauty in this apocalypse world causes bad thoughts in some people. In such cases, the use of force is the only way out. She apologized to Liu Feng, saying that she had underestimated the power of her attractiveness. She understood that her behavior had not changed at all, and fortunately Liu Feng was there this time, otherwise there would have been trouble. Having recovered a little and come to his senses, Juan immediately ordered the military to kill them. Everyone panicked and didn't know what to do, while the confident Liu Feng, holding a sword in his hand, told Kelly to go back to the car in order to protect her and figure everything out here himself. When suddenly the same boy on roller skates from 2 appeared, but hit Juan in the face. He called this technique the ideomotor flying blow. Unfortunately, he then tripped and fell right in front of the military. Juan started screaming for them to kill him. Seeing that the situation was heating up, Liu Feng could not allow the boy to die, so he used the electromagnetic glove technique and took the weapon away from the military, thereby knocking him down. Seeing Liu Feng, the boy pointed his finger at him and said that he saw him as a mutant, saying that he could not be mistaken because he also has telekinesis. Hearing this, the military was horrified, and the crippled, beaten, and armless Juan asked him who he was. Rising from the ground, the boy replied that he was Huang Bingbing, a member of the F-level Mutant Association of one of the 4 forces of the northern base, and he ordered the military to let their mutant brother in quickly. Hearing this, Liu Feng realized that this small northern base was truly interesting. After all, there is no military research institute and an association of mutants with some other fourths. The military could not understand what kind of mutant association it was, and how the boy was a member of it. Huang Bingbing said that he was here to welcome the new members of the association and asked to let them through again. Juan understood that if he didn't let them pass, he would provoke an association, and he still needed to heal his hand. So he raised his crippled hand up and ordered the military to let them through. The military men let them in joyfully, and the boy said that he would take them on an excursion to the Luo region. Meanwhile, the vindictive Juan could not leave all this without a trace, so he called a gang of light-bringing dragons on the radio and asked them to help teach one mutant a lesson. Liu Feng thanked the boy for helping them out and asked his name again. Laughing, the kid replied that his name was Huang Bingbing and said that he could just say Huang Bing, since the 2 words sounded too feminine. After which he asked Liu Feng if it was true that his power was telekinesis. Liu Feng replied that there are no magnetic gloves, they attract metal, that's the ability. Then he asked if the boy had strong telekinesis. Huang Bing replied that he can only move small objects, which is why he has an F level. A moment later, they arrived at the northern base itself. Huang Bin said that this is the northern refugee base, which is under construction. It was founded on the base of the Northern Military Industrial Zone. Taking into account the newly built city wall, the base began to have the appropriate military production potential. The population is 1,340,000 people. He further said that the base is divided into 3 areas. The industrial area is central and is home to the military, as well as workers and their families. Ordinary people with a regular pass can enter it.